belong to me. How my poor heart aches with every step you take, every move you make, every vow you break, every smile you fake, every claim you stake. I'll be watching you.
Buonasera. Buonasera. Allora, il prossimo incontro, già dal titolo, si fa interessante perché racconta di come diventare un cyborg. È abbastanza facile perché, come racconteranno i nostri ospiti, basta un chip impiantato sotto pelle con una semplice siringa. Non so se qualcuno prima è passato nel vialetto di là, ha visto il banco del dottor Kramer, in cui c'erano proprio tutto il necessaire per diventare un cyborg. Però comunque ci sarà anche dopo e il primo ospite vi può sicuramente raccontare adesso e spiegare anche dopo cosa succede. Allora, il primo ospite è appunto il dottor Patrick Kramer, che si occupava, la sua società si chiama DigiWell, si occupava di wearable. Infatti ha anche il suo soprannome, il suo nickname su Twitter è Mr. Wearable. Poi probabilmente ha fatto un passo ulteriore, cioè dal wearable è passato a indossare veramente il chip, cioè nel senso a farselo impiantare. E tutte le cose che si fanno col wearable e molte di più si potranno fare, anzi si possono già fare, tante altre se ne potranno fare, con un chip impiantato. Questo però ha tutta una serie di risvolti anche dal punto di vista della sicurezza, come ci spiegherà il secondo ospite che andrà a seguire, che è Marco Preuss. Marco Preuss lavora per la Kaspersky, laboratorio di ricerca e analisi della Kaspersky Lab, e ha scoperto tutta una serie di ricerche, è un analista, ha fatto delle pubblicazioni in tal senso, che questo tipo di tecnologia comporta tutta una serie di problemi di sicurezza, ma più che di problemi di scenari. Cioè, nel senso, possono essere anche questi chip hackerati, oppure qualcuno tipo la nostra azienda può spiarci, scoprire le nostre abitudini. Penso ne sapremo di più tra una ventina di minuti, cioè dopo gli interventi del dottor Patrick Kramer, che invito a salire, e Marco Preuss.
Thank you. Oh, it works. Okay, I was told to be very quick. My name is Patrick. I run my own little company now where we are talking, or where we are going into the topics of biohacking. Any one of you heard about biohacking? You know, where we hack our own body? I'm going to talk about that very quickly. And yes, I'm a cyborg. And what that is and why I'm here and why this topic is actually so exciting, we're going to look into that into the next half an hour. So how to become a cyborg? Well, this question that we're supposed to discuss here today, it's actually, the answer is very easy. Biohack your body and then you're a cyborg. What it means, and now let's see if this works. Okay, what is biohacking? Hacking is actually, it's not a negative word. We all know computer hackers, which has a negative connotation, but hacking in its original sense means experimenting in a do-it-yourself approach. And with biohacking, we talk about how to improve your body, how to upgrade your body with biology or technology. And within that field of biohacking, we also talk about body hacking, where we actually bring technology inside a person's body. What you see here is like, is this sharp? Or is this like really, well, okay, established technology. You all know wearables like activity trackers, smartwatches. You know how with nutrition you can, you just heard about superfoods, what you can do with your body. Meditation, meditation, sleep tracking, we all do this already, right? Upcoming technologies are electric brain stimulation, hyper reality, so going away from augmented reality or virtual reality into hyper reality, dream hacking, we are working on that, and also body augmentation. Due to time, I'm just running the next one. So actually what is in common with all these technology is, yeah, you need to manage all this. I mean, you need to manage your smartphone, right? So every night you need to make sure it's recharged. Maybe you even carry an energy pack with you, so you have to manage all this. And then if you wear a smartwatch, you also have to manage your smartwatch. And if you wear an activity tracker, oh, does that have energy or not? So there's a lot of things you need to worry about, to manage. And so there's a high effort, and the benefit is like really low. But with biotechnology, with biohacking, what we try to achieve is having a lot of benefits without any efforts. And one of the first things that we were looking into it are the three things you see here behind me. So every morning when each of you leaves the house, everyone in the Western world, we make sure that we have our keys, our money, and our smartphone, right? Without it, we feel distressed, or we even turn around, go back home. And it's a burden. It's a management burden. You need to take care of these three objects. And talking about one of these, I mean, people even made their door mattress not to forget it. A key, now talking about keys, is actually a quite old piece of technology. 2,700 years ago, they found the first keys in Pompeii. And actually, since that time, it hasn't really changed that much. And we are still we are talking about Internet of Things and digitalization and everything, but we are all running around with keys like this, which is really an old technology. And we have tried then with alternatives. You all know number pads. It's yuck. You have to think about pins. And you all know how many passwords you have. And it's like, I have a list, I think, at home of 70, 80 passwords for everything. And pins is even worse. Fingerprints can easily be copied. You leave your fingerprints everywhere where you go. That's not a secure thing to do. Iris scanner, it's also like an option on how to identify yourself. Problem is, they are very expensive, and they very often don't work in a correct way. So no alternative. Then, of course, you all you know about these cards. You have them everywhere, for metro, for your employer, for the buildings, for fitness studios. We all have hundreds of these plastic cards, right? And we are all with time asked when we go to supermarkets, do you want like our loyalty program? Do you want this and sign here, you get another card? Wow, we won't want any more cards. It's too much. Yeah, thank you, no more cards. And we forget them. And with me, it's like whenever I fly or in the supermarket, I always, I used not to have the right card with me. I don't want that. People were then starting also transponders and car keys, saying, okay, this is also something, a key. I don't want to carry around my car key anymore with me. Let's get that transponder, take it out here, and let's do something with it. And they started to put that into their hands. And then you have like pictures like this, which is not very nice, and things get even worse. So what happened then about 2-3 years ago is that a friend of mine, he was thinking about how to turn this unsafe technology of implants into a safe way. And he started a campaign, the XNT, implantable NFC chip. And actually this was so super successful. And this is now what we have. So we have biocompatible safe chips made of glass and the actual chip then inside, which are safe, which don't cause pictures like the one you saw before. I have one in my hand. There's no disadvantage with it. I use it every day, and it's perfectly fine for me. So I basically replaced my key for my home, and I have a table over there where I have my lock with me that I use at home with that. So I need to be faster. So what are we doing at the moment with this? We are using our implants for identification processes and information processes. Information is everything where you use an app, there you can store information on it, or identification where you have a unique RFID number where you can identify yourself. For instance, this is activity logging, what we are using it for. It's for when you are in a gym, you have these cards, you can replace them with your hand. Or when you enter a gym, for instance, we have many people who are doing this, they don't use their gym card anymore. They use their implant. There are weapons that only fire if you have the right tag, the right implant on the weapon, actually, which I think is very safe. So there are modern toilets, but how does the toilet know who's sitting there? And these smart toilets analyze your morning urine, for instance, to identify infections. So you can identify yourself at the toilet. We had the first guy who went boarding on an airplane with his implant, Andreas from Denmark. So Scandinavian Airlines, for instance, they're looking into that kind of technology. We don't need an old school boarding pass on a smartphone anymore. There you can see that. So for information, I have my business cards on it. I have my link for my website on it. You can store emergency telephone number, maybe your shopping list, social media links, for instance, or unlock your smartphone. So it's really up to you what you store on that chip. Of course, talking about implants, you have to have a picture of Arnold Schwarzenegger here. That's like mandatory to have. What's the future about implants? And I'm really pressed by the time here. The next generation that we are looking into, I don't know if you see this, is like flexible. I used to have one in my finger here. Then it was a beta test where we tested the functionalities and all this. So they're like pushed under the skin. So this is what we have. And then the next generation, we call it the Yuki. It's actually all about, and Marcus taking on that topic, it's then all about data protection, where we are actually moving into a direction where you merge your digital identity with your biology. For instance, when you now have your smartphone, you send them SMS or an email, it's not protected. In the future, we will have PGP 128-bit protection, and we are also looking then into payment processes, which at the moment we are not really doing, but this is like the future. And in the future, remember the three things I said at the beginning? We have now replaced our keys. Next thing is we want to replace one day our payment functionalities. Technically wise, we could also replace our smartphone, but that's a different story. How to become a cyborg was the original question. Well, you can get these kits online and just inject it, or you can ask me how you actually get a chip into your body. Thank you. I think that was my speed talk here about cyborg technology. Thank you. I was supposed to be quick. Was I too quick? No.
Okay. Hello from me. I'm sorry I don't speak Italian, but the good thing is here at the Wired Next Fest we are all talking technology, and this is kind of a universal language. I had since last year a deeper look at this technology of biohacking. Of course, from a different perspective. I'm working for Kaspersky, which is, maybe some of you know, a company within IT security. So for me personally, and also business point of view, it's important to know exactly about the security and the privacy of upcoming technologies, of course, to look what's going on in the future, how we can interact and make it more safe for all of you. I mean, that's our job. Every time when it comes to new technologies, you may see it, and when you talk to people, you always get this feedback, like some people are not that interesting technology, some are afraid, some are very optimistic about that stuff. Like at every exhibition I was talking about this biohacking topic, people were like, yeah, interesting, like especially the young people, and then when more older people are like, meh, is it really that interesting? Is it really that promising? Is it really that safe? Especially people who were grown up in non-democratic, free societies are more like, it's another big brother thingy going on here or what? But my perspective is always like, new technologies is something promising. We need to have a look at it because it may help us in many different ways. And one important thing nowadays is, of course, the main interface. How do we interact with all the devices around us? And I'm not talking just about computers. I mean, at a computer, you had a keyboard, you had a mouse, you have a display, whatever. A lot of different interface types, systems to input what and tell the computer what you want to do at the moment, which is not so convenient for a lot of people. It's very complex. Then this already developed, of course, with smartphones and tablets, like you have touch interfaces and so on. Microsoft with the Kinect and also others try to even remove the direct touch interface completely. But there is more. I mean, there is more. When I put my lock at my door into some sensor to be able to read RFID or NFC chips, which is in principle in this case the same, it becomes a smart device. It's a gadget around me of my daily life. So it's a completely new interface when I don't need to do something like put out my smartphone and put it here to be able to access something or to pay. It's completely natural for us. And that's very important, to make the interfaces, the control of everything around me more natural to us, so that we don't need to adapt to the technology, but the technology needs to adapt to us because we are the masters. Of course, it's promising. But as I said before, my main point of view, my main focus is the security and privacy side of things. And especially with all these new technologies, also IoT and all that stuff, we're definitely talking about this, privacy. Privacy and trust. What's going on? Who's standing behind that technology? If I buy some device from some company using this kind of technology, they may be collecting data. So why? What are they doing with this data? This is exactly the first point, like companies. Of course, there are a lot of companies collecting data. Companies are interested in what? Of course, they're interested in their own financial growth. Companies are there to make money. That's the point. If we have it on another level, on a government level, like implanting chips to use it for passports, for health sector, for whatever comes in your public life, which is government related, then there's also the question like, who's trusting these entities? There are a lot of different countries, a lot of different societies, a lot of different political systems out there. And it's always the question to the people in that country, is the trust that high that you can use it in that area when it comes to governments collecting these data rather than just companies? in the end, and this is what we're doing at the moment, this is kind of very free and early adopter technology. So most of that stuff is in this field, so it's do it yourself. Like you get your chip and you control what you do with this chip. You can do it, you can use it with your smartphone, you can use it with your door lock, whatever. In this case, you have full control about the data, what may be collected. Like when do you enter your home while unlocking the door? When do you use your smartphone while unlocking your smartphone? When do you pay what to whom? Because it's your chip. You say the use case, you use it in that use case. If it's going further, as I said, to companies or anything else, like where you depend on someone else, then it's always the question, do you trust these entities? You need to discuss it. You need to think about it. You need to go through that. A very important point when it comes to privacy, and I don't want to miss that point, is this overall, how does it change my behavior? There have been a lot of studies when it comes to, for example, video surveillance and all other types of surveillance, that people, while knowing that they're observed by other entities they don't know, or maybe even if they know them, change their behavior completely. So they start changing the way how they behave in these public spaces which are under control, are monitored by others. And this is always a very important thing. Do we want to change? Before I said no. Technology needs to change, that it's adapting to us and not we adapting to something else. And this is really the discussion from the society. How do we want to use this technology? How do we want to drive this technology? Because this is a question to you. Because you're the customers, you say to the companies how you want it. Now we're in the early adopter stage. So the push needs to come from the society, from the people who are interested in this technology, to drive it in the way we want it, and not just wait, sit down, relax. Sometimes this technology will come, and then it will come in the way others want it. Security, the other perspective, is always this thing, oh, I have there something. Can I be hacked? What about viruses? What about whatever? My data is somewhere. At the moment, to be honest, we are in the early stage of this technology. Of course, RFID, NFC is already out there for some time. Like animals get chipped to make it easier for farmers to control their animals. Even supermarket and other marketing chains, these kind of chips are used to exchange the barcode for these kind of more easy to use technologies. But still, they're not built for security at the moment. What does it mean? It means that you need to think about what you want to do with it. It has a storage on it. The chip has a storage of some 100 bytes. It's not that big. But of course, if you put your most personal data on it, like your passwords in plain text, don't really cry when someone else is just reading out your chip and has all your passwords. In the early adopter stage, you need to think about what you do with this technology. So use it in a way with how it's safe. Be more active and check about the risks. And the risk is, it's a wireless chip. You don't know when it's active or not because it's passive. There is no light going on. It's not with your webcam, like when the light goes on and you see that the webcam is active. And by the way, this doesn't work all the time, so sometimes the webcam may also be active when there's no light. So it's wireless. You don't see it, you don't feel it, you don't smell it. You need to have it in your mind. And it's in your body 24/7, like your smartphone. Your smartphone is also on and connected to change and adapt a bit, because it's not a computer which is on when you say it's on and off when you say it's off, because it's there all the time. The encryption protection is exactly a way how it will go in future. Patrick already said it, so the next evolution steps will definitely need and will come with more features in terms of security to enable these kind of protection when you want to put on sensitive data. And this is a very important point, because if you want to use it, for example, for payments, I mean, how easy is that? You just go there, hey, can I get some box from you you're selling, and just handshaking, and all is done. Payment is done, you get your receipt, everything is done. He gives me the box and walk away. No need for take out the money, take out the smartphone, unlock everything, put in pins or whatever. I mean, that's the future. But we need the right technologies for this. So we need to drive this kind of technology to be more safe in this way. I need to speed up a bit. That's just short about hacking. It's wireless, so wireless stuff can always be intercepted. This is some setup I had in my lab. While reading out this RFID chip, I had this nice device here reading while the RFID chip was just read out regularly, and I just snooped all of that so that it's an easy thing. Yeah, just 1 second more. On mobile phones, of course, you also have the exact apps for reading out these devices because you need it, because you want to use it with your smartphone. Just be aware of that. So always think about who controls and receives data. Security needs to be first. Security doesn't come at the end. It needs to become in the beginning to be able to be used in a safe way. And this is true for all kind of technologies, for all. Not only talking about biohacking, for everything. Security is important. Because we define if the future will be fantastic or it will be fail. Just coding this down, you can make sense of this by yourself. I think it's more than self-explanating. When it comes to privacy, security, and what future we want to live. You're writing the code to the world. Let's make it great. Exactly, 42. Thanks.
Grazie. Ringraziamo Patrick Kramer e Marco Preuss per questo squarcio di futuro presente. E purtroppo non c'è spazio per fare domande e risposte, però i nostri ospiti sono